Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light.
Well, lads and lassie, as always, grab yourself a pint and pull up a chair. It's another episode of the Soul Sessions, of course, with your host, Soul, as always. But with me today, quite an esteemed gentleman, this guy. You know, he's here. You can see him right there. He's obviously the Commonwealth champion and another title, which we'll get into later. Ian Skinner, my friend, welcome to the show.
Aha, it's your boy. How are you doing? How's your day been so far? Or at least like your last week. How's your last week been?
Week, busy, my friend, busy. You know, we're getting up there, and I might as well obviously say as well, you'll be a very particular episode. You'll be episode 150.
150. Wow. I feel like there's a joke there. I'll leave it up to the audience to like put the pieces together. And listen, I'm just nice. The cat's already. I told you we'd have an interruption by the cat.
I'll make sure they get their royalties for appearing. I'll make sure they get paid handsomely.
I'm a cat dad now. That's a new thing. This last week has been great. Today I'm going to see Hocus Pocus at the cinema, so I'm super excited. Hocus Pocus is like one of my top 5 films. Like, watch it every year. Great bit of cinema, and like it for a Disney Channel original movie, it's just great rewatch value. Last Friday, Starship Troopers Extermination came out for console, so I'm stoked about that because back to film, Starship Troopers is like my number 1 film. Have you seen Starship Troopers?
Who hasn't seen Starship Trooper? I mean,
Billy Strachan hadn't, but we did an entire podcast where I got him to watch Starship Troopers and we discussed it for like an hour. I was like, yeah, I'm doing like a 30-45 minutes. It was an hour and a half because it was me talking about it. I watched that when I was like 2-3 years old.
It's funny for me. I probably watched it when I was a teenager because I remember it was like video essays on it and all that, with how like it was kind of taking the piss out of obviously patriotic and stuff like that. And then obviously Starship Troopers would become a franchise with some very iffy sequels down the line.
Yeah, it's great, but it's watching it as a kid. You don't see the satire because you're just like, oh yeah, the military's so cool. You get to like hang out with all your friends when really the asterisk beyond that in brackets afterwards. The military's cool. You get to hang out with all your friends and they all get killed within 20 minutes. It's smart war films like Aliens, you know, when it's just an allegory for the Vietnam and just everyone like, again, Aliens, Romulus came out recently and I've been running with my non-wrestling friends, my human friends, you know, the Alien RPG, which I didn't know was a thing until like some YouTubers started doing it. Because when you're alien bugged, you know, you're just like taking that alien pill. You've got like your YouTube recommended just so much alien content, and it's like an Alien RPG. As a massive D&D nerd, I'm like, let's get into it. Great stuff.
I love Aliens, but I got burned because I pre-ordered that Colonial Marines back in the day for the 360.
Oh, bro. It's just the first couple missions. You're like, maybe, and then it just like it. And it's say there's like they patched it, or at least like someone like literally the code is broken. Someone fixed the code, and it's like it's still kind of playable, but it's not perfect. But it was like a whole scam thing, was it? No, it's not Rocksteady. It was people who made Borderlands. Gearbox, yeah.
Fucking Randy Pitchford, the bastard.
And yeah, so essentially they took half the team off of making Colonial Marines and went, can you make Borderlands 2, please? We don't need this game to be finished.
Yeah, and then Borderlands releases a shit movie 10 years later that nobody fucking likes.
In what a film. Like how does that happen? This year's been very interesting. I don't know if it's maybe I'm becoming a bit more not pessimistic isn't the word, but a bit more cautious in regards to my film watching. Oh, I'm not cautious. I've got the Odeon Limitless card, so I'm just like seeing so many movies, but I feel like there's so many movies I'm like, that's not hitting. Or I come out of it going, yeah, you could have changed a little bit. Like The Crow, you got Borderlands. the two Shyamalan family movies that came out, The Watchers and Trap. Don't know if you've seen Trap. The Trap is great, but it's just there's things about it. I've got a Letterboxd. I'm gonna get an early plug in there if you want to hear Ian Skinner's opinions on movies. Ian Skinner has a Letterboxd.
Oh, all right. Well, give me a controversial movie take. What's a movie that everybody loves but you think is absolute shit?
Oh, everyone loves, but I don't like. That's interesting. I do like to maybe find a lot of good. I feel like recently it's Terrifier 2, but I appreciate what Terrifier 2 does and where it is. But for me, there's just this overtone or maybe undertone. It depends on how you perceive and how you watch it. But I feel like there's this misogynistic kind of like undertone to it that I don't really like. I feel that the receipts that the guys receive versus the receipts the women receive in the film very much outweighed. But by watching it, I'm like, I'm kind of uncomfortable watching this.
Because it's the second one. It's the second one. I'm correct. That has the death of the women in the bedroom, where Art's like going 0 to 100.
Yeah, where like he scalps her, then he like flays her back, and then you think it's like breaks her arm, and then she's like crawling for her phone, and then he just comes back in with salt and bleach, and he's like,
"What the fuck's up with that writer room?"
And Chris Jericho's in it, but but again, like kind of like seeing the positives in it as well. I do feel like there's some artistry to it. I feel like the director Damien Leon has a great vision for horror iconography. Like there's some shots where you're seeing it and you're going, that's a poster right there. That's a screenshot. That's the social media bait right there. And that I think that's why kind of like it's the performance of David Howard Thornton and Damien Leon's kind of like vision, bringing them both together, and you've got some magic there. And the special effects, it's cool as well. But in my opinion, I'm watching it going, why is it just for women who are getting these torturous, horrific deaths? And guys just kind of like, they get their throat slit or kind of like hatcheted in the head, and that's them. Like, it's a bit gory, but it's just... Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me.
I think it's a fair, valid criticism as well. But I know that... Have you seen the third one yet?
I did. So I saw it on its premiere. So I think it was beforehand. There was the week before, I believe, it was like Terrifier 1 and 2, like a marathon, 10 minutes in between. And then Terrifier 3, saw a secret screening. And just when the title came up, it was like, oh, a big pop. It's very, so maybe it's controversial opinion, but whenever I explain my reasoning behind it, people kind of get it. One of my favorite Austin Powers movies is Austin Powers Goldmember. Some people say the original, some people say the second one, which I think is wrong, but I can understand the original because the original was kind of like, it's Coke, it's the syrup, it's the right stuff. Whereas like Goldmember is like vanilla Coke or Coke Zero. For me, Austin Powers Goldmember is the PWG of Austin Powers movies. It just spot. High spots all the way through. There's not like 30 seconds that goes by without you just like chuckling or guffawing along a joke landing. Whereas Austin Powers 1 is a bit more kind of like a joke and a little bit of plot and a joke and a little bit of plot.
Hey, I think that's a fair point indeed as well. But I want to divert back obviously to Terrifier, because I feel like Terrifier is becoming a very much a horror icon. Obviously with Art the Clown, he's been in like the Nine Inch Nails music videos. I know the director said the fourth one will be the final one of this installment, but with horror franchises, they say that all the time until money comes calling.
Yeah, it's like Saw was meant we'll just kill Jigsaw on the third one, and Saw 4 was like, hold on, he did so much retroactive work.
Oh, so
and then Saw 10's like, oh, by the way, this one's actually set between the first and the second one, even though it's the 10th one. But my original point was Terrifier 3 is like the Austin Powers Goldmember of the Terrifier franchise, in which it just hits you.
Yeah, I like it.
the Ice Nine Kills. I feel like Ice Nine Kills have gone a bit too off the rails because there's a breakdown in that song that has just so many just sound effects. It's like clown horns and like little. It's okay, guys, we get it. There's a clown. It's Ice Nine Kills have worked like. It's great. Their kind of like evolution from kind of like, oh, it's kind of like horror stories and like the books, and then they've gone films, and from doing the films, they've expanded this like cinematic universe throughout their music videos, working closely with the Dead Meat people. And speaking of the Dead Meat people, I got jump scared by Joe Hendry on the most recent VHS thing, where they just randomly name drop Joe Hendry, show a clip of his entrance video, and do the like. Like, I expected to get jump scared while watching this video, but not by Joe Hendry.
I mean, I kind of don't want to say his name because, you know, if you say it, he appears anywhere, and it's the spooky time of the month. So I'm going to not try and scare you right now. So we'll keep
if
that.
You say Joe Hendry 3 times in the mirror, he will appear, he will clap.
Right. Hopefully Triple H doesn't say it. And then, you know, that's everyone will be saying it at the Rumble, and that's when we'll get the big pop of 2025. That would be.
I hope so. Fingers crossed, man. Like,
all right. Absolutely, man. But obviously, with Nine Inch Nails, you mentioned there, obviously, they've done the Terrifier 3 song, but they're also beginning to doing Tron Ares as well, which is a bit of a clash.
Yeah.
I mean,
interesting.
I mean, truly, I gotta plug this because I love this. I love the Tron Legacy soundtrack by Daft Punk. I still think it's one of the best movie soundtracks. I love all the songs that Daft Punk did for that. The Res, The Fall, The Grid, everything. Do you think Nine Inch Nails will live up to the Daft Punk's hype of the previous soundtrack?
Well, I feel like they'll be providing something very different. I feel like Daft Punk is very in line, but Ice Nine Kills, they almost like they take on like the film's vibe and kind of like, I don't know, key iconography from the film. Like if you watch it, like their Jaws, Halloween, and Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, like they've taken all these kind of like little things that from the film and add it to the music and then build the song around the character, the plot of the film. So it'll be a new take because I feel like Daft Punk are kind of like, if you were going to do Tron, Daft Punk is for people like electronic sound. They are the kings of electronic sound. But Ice Nine Kills, yeah, it'll be something different. I don't think it'll be comparable, but if it is comparable, then hell yeah, let's go. But yeah, I'll be interested to hear.
Oh, I just hope we get a banger like The Rest again, because those were the good times of the old 2010s. That song was an absolute fucking banger. But hey, nonetheless,
speaking of the good times, Mr. Manival, great album on Spotify, EP, December Moon. That's a low-key banger. Like that still is on my Spotify rotation. I know Werewolves and Vampires is like the main single from it, but December Moon is that's my goat.
Nah, Werewolves and Vampire. I remember I had Manival on, and I was learning about all his music and all that. And like generally, it was in my Spotify Wrapped Werewolves and Vampire, because it is good. It is really good. I'm surprised like the other one as well, because come on, Werewolves and Vampires, a tune.
So I think I was meant to be featuring on Werewolves and Vampires during the God Only Knows part. Like me and Manival had spoken about that before, because like I'm big proponent of metal and like metalcore stuff. So like screaming, it's something I do. So it's maybe something in my past, but it's still something I do. But yeah, I like talked about it. He's like, oh, if anyone wants to collaborate on this song, I'm like, yeah, man, I love music. It never fell through. He ended up doing it himself. I think he kind of was like, oh yeah, I forgot we were meant to be doing this, and I think maybe I forgot to record anything. But December Moon's like, it's like got that creeper, and the chorus is brilliant. Yeah, I love it.
I mean, it's truly a banger, and I love Manival's all music. I want him to release another track soon enough, or an album. I mean, I know Taylor Swift's all the rage, and Joe Hendry trying to get Christmas #1, but I think we could get Mr.
Eurovision.
Manival. Oh God, Eurovision. That's gonna be something weird. I mean,
yeah.
The fact is, like, the States guys, they probably won't like, what the hell's a Eurovision? And us are like, it is our Super Bowl. It's like the thing where you gather around the table and you see the fun wackiness of other countries. What's it about Eurovision that you think just gains people's attention?
I don't know. I think it's that thing of they make it a spectacle. Because it is like, it's Oh no, it's kind of like the Cats. It's like the Royal Rumble of music. I think that's what it is, because like there's a like new entrant every time. They do a little profile behind them, and then they do their thing. And everyone will have a favorite based on their kind of like their subjective opinion and their feelings towards it. I remember my first kind of like sit down full watch Eurovision was, oh man, I can't remember. Was it 2018 or 2017? It's when AWS did This Lap Nya. And it was just like some Bring Me the Horizon. Like I wasn't expecting it to hit that hard, because like Eurovision has that classic is Europop, and sometimes you'll have like a couple ones here and there. It might have been 2019 because it was the year that Mainskin won, I believe. But AWS This Lap Nya, again, that's another one that's just on my rotation because it's just I don't understand what they're saying because I don't speak Finnish, but banger of a song.
I think you're right there as well. Like I listen to a lot of, Japanese songs, Korean songs, and mix in there. But I think it shows that music can really transcend language. You don't have to understand the song, but you can feel it.
Hell yeah. It's the same with professional wrestling.
Oh, yeah. See, it all comes full fucking circle. Oh, you masterful storyteller, you. Look at you go.
What can I say?
Man.
Again, I feel like we've got the film. Like, if you've got any questions, because I feel like I've like taken us like off road right now. We've talked for 15 minutes and not even mentioned wrestling.
I'm sure the viewers can wait another 15 minutes because I got to ask as well. You mentioned that you mentioned the Starship Trooper games, right?
Yes.
Right. Helldivers too, right? I prefer that. It's the one that gained all the popularity, but that's sort of gone through a rough patch, all the patches and the nerfs. Then there's Space Marine 2, which is kind of going in the same direction now.
Yeah.
As well. What the fuck? Can we just keep things fun, please? Why are we getting all these nerfs?
So I think it's down to game design. Secondly, I think it's part of it is so Helldivers 2, I've seen a lot of it. I wish I could, but I'm a console player. I'm not a PC player. I'm an Xbox as well, because I feel like Helldivers out on PlayStation. Hey, listen, I feel like console bias comes from when you're young and what your mates have. Because I feel like I only got an Xbox because my mates would play Halo. My mate had like an OG Xbox. We'd be staying up late till like 2 in the morning. I say 2 in the morning. It's probably 10 at night, because when you're 12 or 13, like 10 is late.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember staying up playing Halo and the Flood. Again, like Halo's got Starship Troopers inspiration. But yeah, that's what tailored my Xbox experience. And then like I'd get into Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth, who were all
don't make me feel old, you bastard.
Yeah, I mean, RIP, man. But they were all Xbox players. So, and my mates were all Xbox players. We'd all go on GTA, we'd all go on Minecraft, and that was like what you need an Xbox for. So that's where my kind of like flavor and I feel like I was going to say ideology, but my bias got catered towards, because I'm like, well, my mates have Xboxes, so I'm going to get an Xbox. And then I go to university and all my mates have PlayStations. I'm like, cool. But by that point, online gaming's taken off. I don't do many co-op kind of like LAN party style things anymore. So it is just all me and what I want to do. So yeah, I'm an Xbox person through and through. So unfortunately, I wish, because Helldivers 2, what a beautiful. Space Marine 2 as well, like Space Marine banger. Warhammer 40k Dark Tide is what I was kind of like getting my fix on before. Dark Tide was essentially Left 4 Dead, but against heretics and zealots. But you don't play a Space Marine. You just play a normal prisoner guy in the world of Warhammer 40k, which is trying to explain the world of 40k to my girlfriend is just, it's like, well, yeah, everything's kind of messed up, but it's fun.
Everything's shit. World's shit. The economy's shit. But you get along. You just get by.
Yeah.
It's just shit and ass.
Hell the Emperor, fight some orcs, fight some Xenos, you're golden.
And you sleep at the end of the day. It's mental as well, because like I knew Warhammer existed, but then I bought Space Marine 2, so I was like, oh, this looks fun, and actually put some effort into it, and it's not gonna have to take 6 updates to work. And then, go up in the high street, I see like the Warhammer shop has like a queue outside of it. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, I think like I think it's, I mean, I've seen the same thing in which kind of like, there's so many Warhammer games out there that have different variabilities. You've got like these like tactical kind of like real-time strategy games. You've got these kind of like,
RTSs.
Yeah, got these like action-based ones where it's like XCOM, where it's like certain amount of moves and certain amount of spaces. I think it's like Space Hulk. You've got ones like Dark Tide, and then you've got these ones which are like the not Left 4 Dead, like World War Z games, which are just like Left 4 Dead games, but it's like third person and it's a sequel to the original like Space Marine game. It's just there's so much you can gather from that world, and you've not even like scratched the surface. I don't know if that Henry Cavill project is still going, but supposedly he was making like a 40K kind of like TV series.
Yeah, like after he jumped from The Witcher, it was like my next project is 40K, and it was like he gloats about this in interviews all the time. This is gonna be amazing. Like 2 years later, we still doing this? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he probably is still doing it, but because he's probably like, okay, well, we want to write this scene, but get the law book out. Okay, blow the dust off of it. Okay, where's the Horus's heresy? You have to like scoop through X amount of pages.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna start from the fall of Cadia, and we're gonna work like 20 pages back, folks. It's like we'll see how we get there, though. But you know what, Ian, you mentioned a particular gaming series, Halo. For folks for not watching, I was the biggest Halo guy. Like I would write the lore of my mates. We would run through all the videos, Vidocs. But a Bungie Vidocs back in the day were like the crisps of entertainment. You mentioned Rooster Teeth from Red versus Blue, so I got to ask. And you know what? There's 2 right answers, right? Favorite Halo game.
Oh, okay. Reach.
My boy, yes.
Reach, because it's Star Wars Rogue One, but Halo.
Oh,
which is the best Star Wars film. Rogue One.
God, sorry, Hangman Page. I think Ian Skinner just became my favorite wrestler. Yeah, it's all right. That's come on. I would have accepted ODST. I would have accepted ODST.
Oh, ODST is a banger, but Reach gets you like ODST. It's the vibe of ODST is different. Like Reach has me in the feels when George is like, "Oh, come on!" Like he's like, "Save Reach for me," and it's like, "Wow, we've just saved Reach." Oh no, we haven't. Like that nice Act 1 twist. It's like it's the shower scene in Psycho. It's the head scene in Hereditary. It's soft and quiet when they reveal the pie. But yeah, that first act twist and then the rest of it is just you. It's great because it sets up insurmountable numbers, and every time you feel that you've overcome the obstacle, there's a new obstacle in place, and it's like, oh, bro, and like going through like the little details of it. What was the name? Not Carter. Carter's the captain who sacrifices himself by flying a pelican into the scarab. Emil as well. Emil's got a sick death. There's the
Cat.
What's the cat? That's her name. Yeah, the fact that like her death only happens because when you like break down the scene frame by frame,
the EMP shot from the slip space.
The EMP. Well, I think it's a nuke that goes off. It's not an EMP because they just glass in the planet. So they're like, oh no, we need to get underground. So they glass the planet, and because like this is her first kind of like time experiencing almost a nuke, when she gets in the lift, she misses the button
because her eyes.
She has to press it again, and because of that, the lifts are going like this, so that when they come out and the rest of the team are running, like Noble 6 and Kat are just a little bit behind, which means that's why she gets shot. And then who's the last guy, the sniper? He's my favorite because Jun, he's just like, yo, dying sucks. I'm out of here, guys.
Yeah, I'm out. Peace.
Peace. I'm out.
I fucking love Halo Reach.
Mate, it's Rogue One because at the end of it, the feeling of ODST is almost like it's not whimsical, but there's something artistic to it. Like it's like when that music hits, it's like a painting, and you're literally going through the world, seeing the effects of war of the last 24 hours, and then you experience it and see why things got to this point here. It is almost like artistic in that sense. And then you've got the final mission, which is great when you've got the little guy. Whereas Reach, again, it puts you in the shoes. It's Starship Troopers. It puts you in the shoes of someone who's boots on the ground, who's new, and just everything's coming towards you, and you're just doing your best to survive. And then the final mission as well, where it is just kind of like you're just doing all you can to survive.
Mate, 100% as well.
I feel like it's something that's missing. Like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, that entire franchise, but it peaked at Modern Warfare. Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. By the simple fact of you aren't the main character. You are a body to experience the spoils of war. You as Soap aren't the main character. You're not the hero. The hero is Captain Price, Griggs, Sergeant Paul Jackson. There's all these characters and you're just kind of like the cameraman experiencing it.
Yeah.
And then Modern Warfare 2, you get to see the hero that Soap has become by the end of the story from the position of Roach. And you get to see all these cool guys. You get to see Ghost, Captain, storytelling, just, it's perfect.
Yeah, my boy Roach, that teaser. But you know what? I got to touch upon ODST because I fucking love ODST.
Yeah, let's go.
Even when going around in New Mombasa, I feel like that's obviously the mission with Dutch and Buck and Romeo and Mickey. They're all great missions, but I love the part with just the rookie. Going around the city, got your visor, you're working with the Stanley's SMG and the pistol as well. But under that, I think is my favorite part of ODST is the Sadie story part with the audio logs that you collect.
Yeah.
That's an Oscar upon an Oscar, like levels of Oscar in storytelling, because you see the city being bombarded, you see how the civilians go around, but it connects to the overall plot of the game as well. Like it's literally the sub story of the main story with Sadie and Virgil and the police officer. Oh, Ian, you're making me nostalgic, man.
Dante's Inferno.
Oh my god, literally it is as well. Because oh my god.
Yeah, it's like the seven. Is it seven? No,
Seven
Circles of Hell. Yeah. It's the Circles of Hell, and it's again Virgil guiding you through the Circles of Hell. Like the Sadie story is just, again, I don't know this stuff like from experiencing it. I picked up the audio logs and I was like, wow, this is cool. But then it's just someone on YouTube tells me, I'm like, okay, yeah, now it all makes sense.
It truly does, and I truly do love ODST and Reach, man. But it's I don't know how you feel about it. I feel it's a bit of a shame of what Halo's become. You know, obviously Halo 4 was something. It was a valiant effort. Then there was Halo 5, which just sucked. Infinite valiant attempt, but not what I think the best direction is. Do you think maybe Halo has to sing off to the sunset? I mean, they've rebranded 343 to Halo Studios. The time is up. Retirement's looking into the corner.
I'm optimistic about the future, but I feel that the era of standalone first-person games is kind of out the door until you have one that makes money, or like GTA or Red Dead Redemption. These ones where it's just like you can just purchase it for the single-player game. Because I mean, back in the day, you would buy a game for the campaign. You wouldn't buy a game for the multiplayer because multiplayer wasn't as prevalent. But multiplayer is now just it's capitalism in which it's just like, oh yeah, buy the battle pass, buy these skins, buy this. That's why it's like incline bench. You do incline bench because you're stronger at incline bench. So you do incline bench because you're stronger at incline bench. So you're stronger at incline bench because you do incline bench. But you do incline bench because it's for cyclical nature. Games are profitable because they attach this marketing to them. But people will always buy the marketing because the marketing's there because it's there. And games will continue to put it in there. So they don't make as much money, even though games are more expensive nowadays than they were back in the day. The game's expensive, and then there's all the add-ons, which you can double, triple, or even like tenfold the price point just by doing a skin. Now, I didn't buy Call of Duty Vanguard until I saw Godzilla vs. Kong on Warzone. And then I had to buy the skins, both of them, because I'm a big Godzilla vs. Kong mark. I love kaijus. I love big lads having a fight in Tokyo. But it I fell for the trap. I fell for the marketing.
Hey, 100% there. But I was big into like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, and I knew obviously year releases, putting all that effort into it, and I was like, all right, I've had my fun, I'll give it quits, and then maybe come back later down the line. But like seeing some of the
then Cold War came out, and you're like, zombies?
Hey, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm holding on. I'm being a standoffish consumer. I'm no buying it. I know it's going to take me back to the old days of Juggernaut Quick Revive on Ascension, but I'm holding the line. I'm no breaking the bank. Even with the Boys crossover, the Terrifier crossover, all these crossovers Call of Duty somehow manages to get. Look, Fortnite's got my money now. Fortnite has my money. So that's sadly where it has to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Black Ops 6 got me because it came out on Game Pass. And it's like, well, I mean, it's for free on Game Pass if you want it. But if you want the bonus kind of like Battle Pass and the early access, then you can just pay like, it's only like 16 quid if you want it. If you want it, I'm like, I do want it, please. Call of Duty Zombies, yes, please. Yum, give me it, please. Thank you. Also, love that you drop an Ascension reference because it's not, most people say, right, they'll do Kino. Kino, I'm a Der Rise guy. Der Rise is that's my jam, that's my bread, that's my butter. But Ascension, with the sickle.
Look, come on, Ascension, the geyser traps, the thunder gun, the whole Easter egg with the monkeys and all that coming in, like that bonus round, like that. Like, hey, people can hark on if they want, Hey, Der Rise, classic, I'll take there. Kino, great as well. Moon, pretty damn good. Shangri-La, okay, bit shit.
Too complicated.
Oh god, yeah. And that wonder weapon too, what, the baby maker?
Yeah. You're gonna make me small. You're gonna make me a little small guy. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna turn you from 6'8" to 5'2", so haha, take it at you. But nah. Thunder gun is the best wonder weapon.
Yeah, hands down. Again, like Kino with the thunder gun. Beautiful.
Good times, Ian. Good times indeed, man. Honestly, God, folks. I mean, hopefully you've stayed for this long and we've gone on our little tangents here. But this is main proper stuff we have to discuss here. I've actually even finished my drink, so I think we'll go on to round 2. But while we do that, Ian, of course, my usual intro, which we'll get into. Obviously, every guest has a story, and every story has a beginning. Ian, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan? 32 minutes in.
Wrestling fan. Tajiri versus Bubba Ray Dudley, but they're both dressed as Santa. This was Sky 1. After my sister's football game, just came home, Sky 1 on. Bubba claws, Tajiri claws. Tajiri does the poison mist and the buzzsaw kick, and that's me. I keep doing this. I'm really terrible with just like emoting. I blame Jack Knudsen because I did it like twice in a match without like wanting to do it, but it's now the thing. It's the thing. And that's for the visual listeners, not the audio listeners. If visual listeners, just audio listeners, jump on the video right now. It's just one of these. Thank you very much. You can go back to the audio version of this. Where was I? Yes, but yeah, Tajiri. And then like Saturday mornings on Sky 1, you just became the thing. Wake up early. It was like at 11 o'clock. You'd watch WWE Experience, and it'd break down like, oh, this is what happened on SmackDown. This is what happened on Raw. And Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, they caught my heart with that story, ending it with, the Dominic ladder match, it's such a crazy milestone. But that was kind of like me as a kid, as a wrestling fan. Then my fandom kind of like, it dissipated. Some people have that story where it dissipated out, and it came back when I was like 17 or 18, going around universities. And I ended up going to a show in Glasgow at the O2 Academy that was Shug's House Party by ICW. 2014, so the first Shugs, and that's when Drew McIntyre came back to ICW after being booted from the WWE. So again, another weird full story moment there, where like him winning the WWE belt when he was like during the pandemic is just it's crazy. It's such a weird like right moment, right time thing.
Oh god,
yeah,
100%. Yeah, I would love to talk about something as well, something I've talked about with guests, because it's something I've never experienced. I got into wrestling in 2019, so I never really experienced the TV era of sitting around and watching it. Yeah, I know. I feel like I freak people out with that kind of comment. Ugh, sacrilege. But for yourself, obviously watching it on Sky One, and now we see wrestling going to streaming services like Netflix, AEW, and HBO Max. Do you feel like it's going to be a missed element of wrestling being on TV screens?
So I feel that, it's like the convergence of media at this point right now, because wrestling is more popular right now or more accessible right now because of, for example, WCPW, PWG, Twitter, Instagram, clips. Because back in the day, it used to be kind of like you will catch wrestling if you go to the specific avenues for wrestling. A wrestling magazine, the Wrestling Channel, Sky Sports, Sky One. But now you can accidentally bump into wrestling. Like, again, the Dead Meat podcast, I was just watching it, and then I get jump scared by Joe Hendry. Wrestling is just so accessible because there's other people who are not wrestling fans who don't do wrestling product, but they will meme on wrestling or they'll introduce wrestling into their product. So it's almost like, in ways that you've kind of like lost one avenue, another avenue has appeared. I actually once did an essay about the convergent storytelling of being the elite and how it started AEW, because being the elite literally is one of the reasons why AEW exists. One of the big reasons, because they were doing convergent storytelling, because you weren't just following Matt, Nick, and Kenny when they were going over to Japan, when they were doing tours in the UK. You had all these other co-stars that are alongside them that they built up, and you built up a profile. So you connected with these people outside of that inner circle. And then Cody came in, he became part of the Bullet Club, he became this, that, and the other. And then they were doing all this work within Ring of Honor. Then there was this Twitter story between Dave Meltzer and Cody. So then we started building towards the first All In, using YouTube as a platform. Like, they sold out within, 20 minutes? The first All In sold out within 20 minutes, all thanks to their YouTube and kind of like their profiles as people, within Ring of Honor, within New Japan, with Cody Rhodes. Elevated, got a show, and by winning that first show, how about we do it? Double or nothing. Then you've got a company. You've got a TV deal, you've got a company. It's crazy how this, literally just a YouTube show about guys who have just vlogging to try pass the time and to have fun, do little skits, got as a company. And now you've got the alternative. And now you've got mainstream, or not mainstream wrestling, but you've got this alternative product within mainstream wrestling on TV. I watched Kenny Omega versus Park doing their Iron Man match from a premiere on ITV, or was it on Channel 4? It was like one of them in a hotel. I was like, how can I? It's crazy. Channel 4 used to be the place for WWE SmackDown on, but yeah, it's bizarre how things have changed. And you will find wrestlers not only through word of mouth, but through clips online, through people sharing, retweeting. Social media is just a crazy powerful tool that, if utilized perfectly, you've got a star. Joe Hendry.
That's the prime example there, brother, indeed. And I think it's fascinating as well you mentioned that, because for me, like how I actually got into wrestling as well, when I was at university, I was studying, I needed background noise while writing an essay. And one of them was a video essay on Eddie Guerrero versus JBL.
And hell yeah. Nice.
It was detailing about, and so the first ever match I saw was the Judgment Day match where Eddie bled like fuck. And I was like, okay, I remember seeing this as a kid, but like from my friends and all, they would really love wrestling, and I was just there getting it vice versa. And then delving into it was stuff like BTE, Dark Side of the Ring, and then it was just like, oh, I'm down the rabbit hole and I can't climb out. Yeah. But I'm loving this absolute dive into knowledge. And BTE as well, it was so fun as well. And obviously it's no really the form of its former self, but still such an important thing as well. But it led me on to obviously another gentleman, Matt Cardona, formerly Zack Ryder, and his Long Island Z True Stories saga. Do you think, Ian, with Matt Cardona, his influences, he's truly one of the the biggest influences on wrestling with social media?
It's difficult to say because it all comes in different forms. I feel like he was one of the first people to, because his main kind of like first burst of popularity as a good guy was the internet title run with these vlogs, with him just kind of like saying, well, if I'm not going to get TV time, I'll get I'll do my own thing and hopefully pitch this idea. And if this idea isn't pitched and used on TV, it'll just go on YouTube and people will watch it on YouTube. So but there's that base layer there. But I don't think people were saying, I'm going to do the Zack Ryder thing. Because I feel like vlogging and all that was kind of taken off as a platform. So people were seeing vlogs, where seeing what was that guy in the band? They did Check Yes Juliet. Essentially, the bassist of that band used to do daily vlogs. Hey, I'm out with my family. We're going to Target. We're going to do these things. They had Shay Carl as well. Vlogging was such a big thing within the early 2010s. But I feel again wrestling being maybe 5 years behind a lot of trends. It's almost okay, 2012 is when vlogging was big, but in 2017 is when wrestling vlogging and wrestling podcasts almost took off, and then around every corner was another wrestling podcast. But I feel that if you're in early deep enough, you kind of innovate.
Okay, fair point there indeed as well. And I think very true to yourself. For myself, I remember pandemic time, there was a lot of podcasts I was listening to. Obviously, it was Talk Is Jericho. I remember Chelsea Green had her own podcast before she went back to the WWE. Matt was obviously redoing the Z True Long and Life story as a new thing as well. There's so many things as well. And I think also you mentioned wrestling being kind of 5 years or a couple bit behind. Because I remember there's people obviously Logan Paul did his vlogs. I remember there was a lot of female YouTubers doing their sort of vlogs. And we've seen kind of a change in that with the vloggers that were doing the stuff are now going into wrestling. Sort of
yeah.
Because obviously Mr. Paul's in the WWE at the moment as well, former United States champion. Do you think that's quite fascinating, Ian, to see this yin-yang moment of, the trend chaser and then the trendsetters are now becoming the trendsetters in the chaser?
Well, I feel that it's people weren't after Logan Paul because of his vlogging. That's where he built his profile. But then I feel it was the boxing. And I feel Logan Paul, as much as everyone wants to say their things about him, I'll kind of say the objective things in which he is a good businessman and he knows how to conduct himself at times. But for the most part, he knows how to conduct himself online by a means of gaining popularity, gaining traction, gaining engagement. Boxing, and it's not only that, the fact that they did the draw with the first match, so they had to do a second boxing match between KSI and Logan Paul, and then they engagement bait by going, oh, we're going to do a video together, and they do a video together and just go, by the way, Prime, we've got Prime, and then Prime takes off, and it's all, again, right place and the right time. If Logan Paul says, I want to try WWE, and WWE's are going to go, what, this popular internet guy who's athletic and can do boxing wants to do it? Yeah, sure. Tyson Fury, he did a match. Cain Velasquez. I feel that WWE are very much interested in bringing these people who are athletes and who can do their craft, bring them in, or at least want to try do the craft, bring them in, give them a platform. It's just that Logan Paul was given an extreme platform for his first match against The Miz, and I don't think you remember how good that first match was, because it was a moment where you go, damn, Logan Paul's really good, because I feel everyone wanted to be boo-hoo on the guy, but he was incredible just by doing a first little sequence, because I feel it went a tag team match with The Miz and then main event against Roman Reigns, because he was that good, and he absolutely killed it. But I feel that it's maybe a mutual kind of relationship, because Logan Paul, for his worth, he gets to try something new with the WWE. He's put on an extreme platform. He is good. He benefits for WWE, but he benefits by being on the WWE. Brings WWE stars onto his what is it? Impulsive is the podcast. Yeah. We have Roman Reigns, we had Cody Rhodes, we've had John Cena on those podcasts. And then again, convergent storytelling within media with John Cena going on like Kai Cenat's Chicken Big Mac live stream recently. Like, I feel that this crossing of the wires and like trying different things to market has really become a bit more prevalent over the last couple of years. I feel that Triple H has a great mind for cross marketing. I feel that like how we used to, like, you had Snooki at WrestleMania, but now you've got Logan Paul or Snoop Dogg, you know, Snoop Dogg doing the people's elbow. Great.
Yeah, I remember that. I was there at 39, and like there was advertisements before Edge and Finn Balor's Hell in a Cell. It was like some Pope movie, and everybody was like, "Oh, boo! We don't want to see a trailer for a Sean Bean movie about the Pope." Then it was like, "Hey, advertisement works," and of course, obviously, Prime's on the ring mat. Will we get Lunchables on the ring post?
We had the Cinnamon Toast guy during Rey Mysterio versus Dom a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Which I think is like, it's like a blood feud match. And like, listen, you've disrespected me. You're my son. I don't care about you, Dad. Cinnamon Toast guy being like, hey, I'm here.
I'm here for the ad revenue. I'm just here to make a payday. I mean, it reminds me of like that clip from Wayne World, you know, like where they're just like talking about, I think it's about some executive, and then they're just like, we would never sell out eating like Pizza Hut and like dressed up in like Gatorade
like,
stuff.
people only do things because they get paid, and that's just sad. Decked out in all Reebok.
Sometimes the past tells the future. I mean, that's the phenomenal thing about it. But you know, I want to touch on something there as well. You mentioned you were there at the show where Drew came back to ICW. I remember seeing that obviously on Drew's 24-hour documentary on the WWE Network, and then actually going back to watch the show. For somebody who was there in the crowd, I would love for you to describe what the atmosphere was like in person.
It was. It's hard to describe because it was. Not to steal the phrase from Progress Wrestling, but that was punk rock wrestling. Like that show, like it's very much a sign of the times, but there's a reason why ICW was so popular, because it was doing something for itself. It was doing its own thing, and it was great because you had that mixture of like the first match on is like Mark Coffey versus Solar. So you've got that kind of like wrestling, and then you've got stars, you've got like still game characters coming out, and then you got Drew McIntyre at the end, and you got Jack Jester, and you've got all these characters doing all these different stories throughout the place, and it's like it was a variety show, like in its truest form. You know, a tag team hardcore match with like Kaylee Ray and Stevie Xavier. You know, like it. There's a reason why there's so many people from that show on these upper echelons right now, and it's because they were providing quality product and entertainment value.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that there's like we don't have that now. It's a very different vibe. I feel like ICW are killing it. Like their previous shows, like they're bringing in so many new faces as well that are popping off right now. You're like seeing Rob Drake in ICW, Lana Austin's the champion right now. A lot of new faces as well that are like they're standing out. You know, Landon Riley comes out, and you know his vibe. You know Ben Rogerson, like so many new faces in and around ICW, and you know, doing the garage for Bard. I remember the first Bard. There was like no fans. It's just a weird dichotomy, but so excited.
They absolutely, man, as well. And ICW does really have a special place within Scottish wrestling. I've had many people on this show who have been a part of ICW. Rio, the former champion, obviously, Molly Spartan, Daisy Jenkins, Casino Brutal, Kate Galloway, who's recently made her ICW debut as well. And I know you were a part of ICW as well for a wee bit as well, obviously part of the cabinet, doing some stuff in there. I want to know your thoughts. Obviously, with ICW being such an important part of Scottish wrestling, for you to be a part of that history with the company, was that quite a groundbreaking moment for you?
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember, so I was part of ICW Gonzo at first, which was kind of like that. It was like a weird offshoot brand that gave more of like an old school ICW punk rock feel, where it was kind of like, we've got matches upon matches with some story, but matches upon matches. I was in a 6-man tag, and from there, I got my kind of like main show garage debut. Heading into Fear and Loathing on like year 2000, France 2000. It was just crazy. And then getting the opportunity to kind of like work more of a character, like being given like a role to fulfill. I feel that like Skinner and Vice and Skinner, Thatcher's Cabinet, I remember every show, the amount of times that we opened a show because we knew the response we would get when we had like the first fans back in, that first music hits. It's just that Thatcher's Cabinet, like boom, 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 the one that sounds like Two Girls, One Cup song.
Oh, why you got to remind me of that, Ian? Come on.
And just hearing the boos, because people wanted that response, and getting to do a tag match on Fear and Loathing against Jester and Shah. It's crazy how fast things move. And it's, again, I feel that they say kind of like you need to prepare for like anything, and I feel that wrestling's just kind of like that perfect spot of like something will happen. When it happens, it'll be a right time, because I feel like I've fallen into a lot of lucky moments for myself. I feel that like I feel like I've planned and like kind of like tried to manifest things into existence, but I feel that a lot of stuff it's happened because of the time, but I've like come out more fruitful from it. So I'm like, I'm very precious about kind of like memories within wrestling. I feel like I had my it's only like been my 3-year anniversary of my Discovery debut, and also my singles match with Francesco Akira, who's now wrestling in New Japan, in the Super Junior Tag League. It's just, like it's almost unreal looking back. It's like, how was that 3 years ago? It feels like a lifetime ago, but like it's just, things move fast. So I feel like I took the time to enjoy everything whilst it was happening. Because I feel like at that, with wrestling, I feel like your enjoyment within the moment is paramount, because like you'd never know what's going to happen like next week or next month. But it's crazy. It's crazy. It's a journey.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good, fun journey, and time flies when you're having fun. But I can't believe you remind me of Two Girls, One Cup. God damn it, Jesus Christ.
Well, no, but listen to that song, okay, and tell me, okay? It wasn't my original thought, but as soon as I heard someone say it, I'm like, damn, it does. I had to listen to it back. I'm like, terrible. Banging
sure
song, though.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to need to use
great song. Didn't like the video. Great song.
It was an acquired taste for some. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to use ad blockers for that kind of research again. Oh, good Lord Almighty! But nonetheless, obviously, Ian.
Sorry, ad blocker, so you can get right down to the video. Hold on, I'm not gonna wait 20 seconds. I want to watch it now. Thank you.
I'm a researcher. I got to do my research, and I can't have by-walls getting in the way. I have to get right to the research. You have to see have to hear the song, have to compare it. I'm good at my research, but I'm going to be mentally scarred again, like it was 2012 again. Yay, fun times indeed. But obviously, as well, as I say, someone's always a fan, but you may be the fan that would take the extra step further into the squared circle. I know you were trained by a Mr. I won't say, well, Mr. Clap Clap, Mr. Hendry himself.
Mr. Clap Clap. Yeah. Since 2019, man. I'd say 2019. I feel like it was just right on the cusp of maybe like 2020. It was like right on the cusp of the pandemic that Joe let me into his school, because like he was training like 10 minutes up the road from me. And when kind of like travel was like so restrictive, I was like, what? I want to go to a place that I can almost like walk to. And he was so welcoming. He was going through his own journey right then and there, because he was a Ring of Honor wrestler at the time. I've seen Joe Hendry when he was signed to Ring of Honor. I've seen Joe Hendry when he signed to TNA, and when he's like worked in WWE. And he was on the first show that I went to. He was on Show's house party. It's one of those moments where it's not even full circle, because the circle just keeps going. It's a spiral at this point. But yeah, I can't thank Joe enough, because I feel like Joe has such an impact on my wrestling. He's been really motivational to me. Like when things were getting really tough, like I've said this before, that like passion can be easily lost, and there's been times where I can lost my passion and just maybe overthought situations or was thinking too much, and he was there to kind of laying everything down. He was very business around it because he's such a Gary V mark. I'm glad that he got to speak to Gary V finally, but he kind of like put things down in like basic terms, and he let me into kind of like his school, his home, and let me take on a role in like helping coach his guys when no one else was available, like leading up to their debuts, and like when he was away at Ring of Honor, when he was away at TNA before Emerson was available, before like DCT, when DCT wasn't there. It'd be me just kind of like getting these guys basics down and providing what insight I had that I'd taken from other people. I wouldn't say I was their trainer, but at least like I kind of like helped coach, and I'm so happy to see these guys succeed in what they're doing. And it's great to see so many people like still stick at it, and kind of like go up to that next level now with like Emerson, with Aspen, within the Discovery Academy as well. I couldn't be happier with kind of like my journey as it's been. But yeah, I can't thank Joe enough for kind of like where I am today. I don't think I'd be here without his influence, with his guidance, with his advice. And not even that, but like just sharing, being able to chat there, just almost like becoming, I'd say, close friends. But I don't want to make it sound like it's like, oh, friends. But yeah, Joe's incredible, and I love to see him succeed in what he's doing right now. He's done things in a Frank Sinatra sense his way.
Too right, indeed. I remember the first time I ever saw Joe was, I think it was Final Battle 2021, Ring of Honor's last show before the hiatus. And I remember saw him
Fatal 4-Way?
Bingo. Television Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah. Because then the next show was after that AEW bought it, and it was a singles match against Dalton Castle.
Bingo.
On the pre-show?
I believe it was the pre-show. I believe so. But it's like,
because it was like the crazy like ladder to heaven match with the Briscoes and all that.
There was a mental.
Or was it FTR? Was it Briscoes?
It was FTR Briscoe won. FTR Briscoe won. And then the Young Bucks came out and super kicked the Briscoes, leading to FTR and the Bucks on Dynamite. But before Joe, like, I remember seeing him for the first time, I immediately was like, oh, I really like this guy. He just has that immediate connection. And then he would do some stuff, and obviously that one Ring of Honor, then kind of going into TNA, Impact at the time, Digital Media Champion. But then he just skyrocketed. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like just meme culture at the time, but like he is ascended to like stratospheres that I've never thought possible for some people. Doing the TNA with NXT deal as well. My friends in the States are like, oh, who's this guy? And like, this is Joe Hendry. He's been doing this stuff for like multiple years before then. What do you think was like the culmination of just that time that really led to Joe Hendry just becoming skyrocketed into meme culture?
I think it's just chance, and it's just memes. Like, I think it's just like one guy on TikTok was like Joe Hendry, and just like the joke, because obviously he memeified himself in the TNA product of say his name and he appears. So like even the vignettes towards him debuting at TNA, like it's almost like he planned it that way, but I don't think he did. Like, I feel like it was a great like character introduction and something to keep playing on, and it's something that like obviously the creative team loved. And like people would like say his name or like allude to someone, and Joe Hendry would appear on the Titantron and he'd like come out to wrestle his match. But I feel like just like people just getting behind it and loving it as a meme, and then memes being memes, it expands like in its like greatest sense. Like a meme isn't kind of like funny image. A meme is an idea that's cultivated by a group of people that expands because they memeify it. And then, and it's great that as a meme, it's not done the usual meme culture thing, because wrestling fans can't let go of something. Unlike most meme culture, where like Ugandan Knuckles like lasts for 2 weeks before the new meme comes in, or the Huck Tour, that girl, like she starts a podcast, but like maybe in a month's time, we're not going to be speaking about the Huck Tour podcast or like Lunchley, but wrestling fans can't like go over memes, so like there's so many memes right now that like you could drop and it's like, oh yeah, I love that. Like, what's something I can say that isn't isn't controversial to drop on a podcast? But I think you understand where I'm coming from. Like, there's so many things like X-Pac Heat as a meme. Everyone still knows what that is. X-Pac, like, I feel like he's retired at this point, but everyone knows what X-Pac Heat is.
Yeah.
Like, there was a Fringe show that I watched, Edinburgh Fringe, called Chokeslam, and this woman explains what X-Pac Heat is. Memeified. Yeah, wrestling fans can't let go of memes. Titus O'Neil, if Titus O'Neil were to rear his head round the corner, you go, why aren't you falling into the ring? That happened pre-pandemic. We need to let it go.
Now about the humans who gonna live like animals do. No more laws and no more rules.